we draft pitching staffs. That, plus Jurickson Profar suspended, the WBC is almost here, and more on this episode of Baseball Barbacast.
Hello and welcome to Baseball Barbacast, the only baseball podcast in the world with absolutely no problem getting defensive. I'm Jake Mintz. That's Jordan Shusterman. On Monday's episode, we drafted the lineups, and today we will draft the pitching/defenses.
Yes, we will. Earlier this week, as you mentioned, we were trying to rack up the runs. We each drafted 15 teams. Hopefully, our batch of 15 scores more runs than the other team. This time, we're doing the opposite as we preview the season through these goofy podcast drafts. And that is going to be our opener.
I felt bad about my draft on Monday. And I expect that when I wake up tomorrow, I will feel even worse. As parsing through the defenses and the pitching is more difficult than simply looking at the lineups. For the lineups, you take a glance at the hitters, you sprinkle maybe a little bit of park adjustment, and you go about your merry way. For the pitching, it's not as simple because you really do need to take defense and the run scoring environment into account. Jordan Shusterman, do you feel good?
No, not at all.
Okay.
I think that as we embark on this draft, there are certainly promises to be, once you get to the bottom, there are some bad teams and some tough parks. We'll get to that. We'll have our fun at the bottom there. But there's a lot of different ways you can measure a good pitching staff and a good run prevention unit. And, when you look, we did the lineup draft, I referenced some of the projections from places like Fangraphs, from places like Baseball Prospectus with Pacoda. These projection systems are taking into account a lot of different things. Defense is one of them. Park is one of them. When you're projecting F4 and stuff, a lot of that has to do with peripherals, not always just straight ERA, right? But we did want to try and just keep this as simple as possible. And so generally, we do think that the good teams are allowing fewer runs than the bad teams. And for the simplicity's sake of this game, we are just going to try to allow the fewest total runs. With all that said, I let you have the first pick in the lineup draft, the offense draft. And so I'm going to go ahead and take the first pick in this one. That said, I'm not particularly feeling awesome about it. I'm not like, all right, hell yeah, I get the first pick. I get to take this team. However, I will do it, and I will get us started here with the first pick. And with the first pick in the team that I think is going to allow the fewest runs this season, I am just going to keep it super simple, and I am going to take the Mariners of Seattle. Here's why I'm worried about this pick already. Good way to start off my number one overall pick. They were not awesome on the road.
Can you imagine if they did that? Can you imagine if they did that at the draft?
As soon as they took the number one pick, they're like, here's why I'm not.
Like the guy. Yeah, we'll take Paul Skenes. Is the fastball shape going to play? Okay, go ahead.
We'll see. That said, I do think that while we have no idea that they will be notably healthier than they were last year, I do think that the talent here is still elite, and I think that they are still playing in one of the pitcher-friendliest ballparks that we have. And I am still going to. I feel pretty good about the floor here. So, I'm very curious where you go with pick number 2, but I'm going to keep it simple. I will take the homer pick. I'm wearing my Arkansas Travelers hat in honor of not only their pitcher-friendly Major League ballpark, but also their even pitcher-friendlier AA ballpark. But that is my number one pick. Seattle Mariners. There you go.
If you had asked me before I prepped for this where I thought the Mariners ranked in 2025 in runs, I would not have said 17th. They finished 17th in baseball in runs allowed per games and came within, 2 innings of going to the World Series. Their offense was way better than you remember, and their run prevention was way worse. Now, why was it so low? You're right. A lot of it was related to injuries and a lot of like what was probably a lot of Logan Evans starts mixed in there.
Logan, Emerson Hancock, and we got a couple. But again, they were not awesome on the road, and that is half of their games. So I realize that. But they were unbelievable at home. So it is kind of a balancing act. They have to get better on the road for this to be a great pick. But let's see who you got. Now it's your turn, because it sounds like you were not going to take the Mariners #1, which is fine. So maybe you get the first on your board. So go ahead.
I think, what was I going to do at 1? I could not have told you. What am I going to do here? I'm going to take the Detroit Tigers at number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I think it is simple. They have the best pitcher.
Oh,
and
okay.
That's helpful. They have the best pitcher in Tarik Skubal, and they play in a big ballpark, and they have shown an ability to be good at run prevention. You know, last year, the Tigers finished 16th, which is surprisingly low. I think I like the bullpen this year more with bringing back Kyle Finnegan for a full season. I like Kenley Jansen in that ballpark. I think a big step forward this year from Tyler Holton. And then the Skubal-Fromber tandem at the top of the rotation, I feel very good about. So yeah, I mean, I spent a lot of time thinking about this, and then in the end, I was like, I'm going to take the team with the best pitcher, and that'll do it.
That is totally fine. I am going to take the Dodgers of Los Angeles. The Dodgers, who went, of course, first in our lineup draft for much more obvious reasons, do have the super duper ridiculous talent at the top end of their pitching staff as well. However, injuries are terrifying. I'm not feeling awesome about the Roki Sasaki group. Blake Snell does not seem to be particularly in any sort of rush to get back to this team, which I guess
what a job that
his
guy
prerogative.
Has. What a gig.
But they did add Edwin Diaz. I do love Yoshinobu Yamamoto dearly. I think Emmett Sheehan is awesome. And I think Shohei Ohtani, if he is pitching, is going to be as good as he has ever been, because that is usually what Shohei Ohtani does. There is depth beyond them. I don't love the ballpark. Dodger Stadium has played particularly offensive, not just because of all the great hitters playing there. Their park factor has been very homer-friendly in particular. But again, the upside here is still tremendous. And I actually think we're going to have some positive regression in terms of their run prevention in 2026. So finally, something going right for the Dodgers. I think they could really use that.
Oh.
But I will happily take them here for my second pick.
I will go with the Milwaukee Brewers.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I just think the Brewers know how to keep runs off the board, man. I don't particularly care. I mean, I do who they have on the mound, but I think that the defense and the alignment and the pitch mixing and the game calling, they have shown an ability to optimize that year after year after year. And when you look at this rotation entering the season, even without Freddie Peralta, like, this is a really good group, man. Like, with Woodruff, Mizorowski for a full season, Quinn Priester, we're high on Logan Henderson. They have more arms coming up from the minors. And the bullpen was incredible a year ago. The park plays pretty big. Do I think they'll finish first? No. Do I think they'll finish 15th? Absolutely not. And that's why I'm taking the Brewers here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They were third in runs allowed per game last year. And I think we had an interesting conversation about the Brewers in the lineup draft. I ended up eventually taking them because the projections do not say that they are anywhere close to a top 10 offense, closer to a bottom 10 offense. But I still was like, you know what? They're going to find ways to score runs. I feel even better about them finding ways to prevent runs. They are in the batch of 3 elite defenses that are on the board. They are the first one that goes. Am I going to take one of those other 2 elite defenses? Not yet. I am going to go ahead and take the Philadelphia Phillies. This is another one that I'm going to kind of take the floor. I love what I'm hearing about Zach Wheeler. Doesn't sound like he's going to miss a ton of time. Bottom of the rotation, maybe a little bit less exciting. Obviously, Ranger Suarez is not there anymore. But you got Yohan Duran in the bullpen now, and that is not a small thing. I feel great about that. I do like a lot of what that bullpen looks like right now, which I haven't said about the Phillies in quite some time. So I think the improvements in the bullpen kind of outweigh, Ranger departing, and even if you're missing some time from Wheeler, and also, Painter is a big wild card. So I feel pretty good about getting the Phillies here, even if there are some question marks.
I will take the Toronto Blue Jays, a team that I went and got eyeballs on today. And there are two main reasons for this. One, this was one of the best defenses in baseball last year, if not the best from a statistical perspective. I mean, they grade out excellently across the board. And they're probably going to be better than they were a year ago, with Jimenez moving to short for Bo, who is probably the weakest link in their defense. So I can imagine that unit taking a step forward. And then when you look at the arms that they've brought in versus the arms that they lost, like this staff, got the most better? I know we're worried about Shane Bieber and his health, but even if he was only on the team for 10 starts last year, I think there's reasons to be concerned with Gausman at age 35. Can Barrios bounce back? Can Cody Ponce make the transition from Asia? Can Trey Savage do it over a full season? Can Dylan Cease be closer to his expected runs than his actual runs? What the hell is Max Scherzer at this point? I get all those things. I believe in this operation now from a pitching standpoint, and think with the defense, and it's a pretty neutral ballpark. I like the value here for the Jays.
Yes, they were one of the other elite defensive teams. A lot of that defensive, statistical outliers has to do with Kirk.
It's Kirk.
And that's part of it, right? Obviously the catcher is certainly helping you keep runs off the board. So don't feel bad about that at all. They were certainly in the mix for one of my next few selections. I'm going to go ahead and take the team that by projected Fangraphs WAR, which is not what we're doing, but they're number one, and that's the Boston Red Sox. Now, this is a tough one because of the ballpark that they play in. We know that Fenway is going to occasionally result in some higher scoring games. That said, you add Ranger Suarez, you add Johan Oviedo, you add Sonny Gray, you already have Garrett Crochet. Aroldis Chapman, somehow, some way, is one of the best relievers in the world still at, what is he, age 38 now? Unbelievable. The staff itself is terrific. So I think you're kind of betting that that's going to outweigh maybe some of the runs they're going to allow at home. So, and just,
their depth
at
is
least
also
in general, where you're facing some really good lineups. So that's competition is another part of this too, where maybe we'll factor in. But the depth is terrific also. That's the thing. They are in a much better position to withstand some injuries than even a team like Seattle in that case. And for that reason, I definitely feel a little bit better about them. So I'll happily take Boston here with my fourth pick.
I will take the New York Mets.
Wow. Okay. You got the Mets in both drafts. I got
the Mets in both drafts. I
All right,
understand
let's hear it. This is a fun defensive conversation, right? For a lot of reasons.
So this is a reach. All right. This is a reach. I'm aware that this might be early for the Mets. I'm willing to admit that. And I probably could have waited to get them, but I think taking them here helps me make a point that I want to make. And that is all winter, the only two words out of David Stearns' mouth were run and prevention. Okay?
True.
This operation is now being optimized for run prevention. I think if you've listened to this podcast, I like Nolan McLean a little bit. I think that has probably come across. I think Freddie Peralta is going to slot in there wonderfully. And I don't think that David Peterson, Clay Holmes, Shamanaya, and Kodai Senga can be as catastrophic as they were a year ago. And if the Mets are anywhere in it at the deadline, they will go out and add an arm if they feel like they need to. I like Tong coming up. I think we're kind of forgetting a little bit about Christian Scott. The bullpen behind Williams and Weaver is an area of concern for me. But I just trust, frankly, dude, Kai Correa, who is their bench coach, who is in charge of their defense, is someone that he knows what he's doing. He's elite, knows what he's doing. And I think he will help the Mets keep runs off the board.
Yeah, like they have added some elite defenders in Semien and Luis Robert. So Lindor is still awesome.
Defensively, dude, they're great up the middle. Like they are really, really good up the middle with Lindor, Semien, Robert, and I'm high on Alvarez as a defender. Like I think the injuries were really significant last year. I'm betting big on him. Look, like can Polanco transition to first? Can Bichette transition to third? We don't know, but it is certainly easier than moving the other way up the defensive spectrum than it is moving down it. And then the whole thing, like, is Juan Soto going to be like the worst defender in the league? Right? Maybe.
Now in left.
He's still
so not. So is he going to be doing more damage in left or right, for better or for worse? I guess we are going to find out. All right. I am now going to take what is essentially the A's pick at third, but the pitching version of that, and I'm going to take the Pittsburgh Pirates here. Here's the argument why this is like not that much of a reach, although again, the A's had clearly a top 10 offense last year as well. Runs allowed per game last year, Pirates were fifth. They were, I guess, eighth in ERA, but runs allowed per game, fifth in baseball. I will take the team with Paul Skenes on it. I will also take the team that has added two of the hardest throwing left-handers on the planet in Gregory Soto and Mason Montgomery. The bullpen could be a bit of a concern here, and I do wonder if they maybe traded like one too many starters, but I'm hoping that Jared Jones comes back at some point. Braxton Ashcraft is awesome. I'm all in on Bubba Chandler. Mitch Keller is just still hanging out there. Nobody talks about Mitch Keller. He's still a pretty good pitcher. And you got Paul Skenes. And if incredibly pitcher-friendly ballpark. So all that together, this is probably a little aggressive, but I will take the Pittsburgh Pirates here with my fifth pick.
I will take the New York Yankees.
Mm-hmm. Yep. They were in the mix for me there.
They will not be in the bottom half. They just won't. It's similar to, when we talk about the Brewers and the faith we have in terms of just the operations ability to prevent runs, I don't feel that way about the Yankees defensively, but boy, do I feel that way about their pitching staff with Matt Blake, their pitching coach. And I think that, this year compared to last year, dude, they just had so many, and they really losing Garrett Cole and Clark Schmidt was such a big deal. And now that they're going to have Cole coming back, Carlos Rodon, I know, is going to miss a chunk of the season at the beginning. That's not ideal. I am very high on Ryan Weathers, a full season of Cam Schlittler, and I think the Yankees are. Why are you laughing at Cam Schlittler?
No, I'm not. I'm not laughing.
I heard you giggle.
I was about to say nice words about Ryan Weathers.
Go ahead.
I'll say. I mean, I think people losing their mind over one spring training outing in any circumstance, regardless of whether it's a new player, is probably one of my least favorite things about being on the internet, baseball internet in 2026. That said, I watched the Ryan Weathers inning and I was like, okay, we are maybe looking at something pretty cool. And so that was one where it was impactful enough. The changeup was nasty about Ryan Weathers, he was throwing hard enough. Yeah.
He can lose 2 ticks and you're still like, okay. And that's the thing, right, about him throwing 99, is that if he's throwing 97, that's still significant.
I'm a tick lower on Schlittler, but I think that this is clearly a staff that should get better as the season goes on. It's a really strange bullpen group that they didn't really do anything to at all. But
yes, it is.
Bednar is pretty good. So no, I agree with you. I think that this was probably going to be my next pick, or at least one of them. So totally understand. All right, we are a third of the way through. I started things off with the Seattle Mariners as my number 1 overall pick. Jake took the Tigers with his first pick. I went the Dodgers, Phillies, Red Sox, Pirates were the rest of my top 5. Jake took the Brewers, Blue Jays, Mets, and Yankees. We will do 5 more picks before we take a break. Actually, we'll do 4 more picks, and then we'll take a break. I am going to go ahead and take the team I'm leaning more into the ballparks. And again, am I a believer in this team overall? Not really. But they were number 1 in baseball in runs allowed per game last year and in ERA. And they added Mackenzie Gore. So I'm going to take the Texas Rangers with my next pick. Is Jacob deGrom going to be that healthy again? That'd be awesome. That'd be really good for him. But probably not. This is a bullpen that has once again just kind of been rebuilt on the fly, but that has kind of worked for them in the past, so I'm not totally opposed to that strategy. Nathan Eovaldi is an absolute beast. I think Jack Leiter will be a little bit better in his sophomore season. And yeah, it's apparently pretty hard to hit at this ballpark now, and they have some good pitchers. So Texas Rangers, my next pick.
I will take the Chicago Cubs.
All right, you're getting all the defense. This is a really interesting
This is my strategy. This is my strategy here. And I will tell you this now that I have taken the 3 best defensive teams in the sport. Defense, I don't know if you heard this, Jordan, and it wins championships. No. Defense is less susceptible to injuries. So if pitcher attrition over the course of a season is inevitable. But if I'm running Parker Messick out there versus me, I don't know why I picked Parker Messick. The defense behind me is going to play no matter what, right? Now, yes, you can have injuries to key defenders, but generally I just find that to be less likely that you'll lose a key defender than you'll lose a key arm just because of the way pitching works. So that's kind of my pick here with the Cubs is that, do I love their rotation? No, I don't. I think it's good. I expect a step back from Cade Horton, who I think pitched a little bit above his skis. I like Edward Cabrera. I don't love him. Is Matt Boyd going to be that good again at age 35? What is Imanaga? All valid concerns. But this defense that was very good last year probably just got better, swapping in Alex Bregman at third. And I think that's enough.
Yeah. That is a good pick. I am going to go with the team that I kind of hinted at it earlier this week. This is one that just kind of knows how to get outs, and it's the Houston Astros. They have added some. They have, Imai is. I don't know what Imai is, but I'm excited to find out. I like Mike Burrows. And just like the Steven Okerts of the world and the Bennett Souzas, these guys they were getting by with Jason Alexander for months at a time. And as we know, they're a bit of a mess right now on the position player side, even with still some serious upside. Just the pieces don't fit together. But they have one of the best pitchers in baseball in Hunter Brown. Christian Javier seems to be healthy. He's awesome when he's on. So there's still some weak links here for sure. I'm not counting really on anything from Lance McCullers at this point. But the Astros just know how to get outs. So I am happy to get him here get them here at this point in the draft.
Let's see if Jordan can do this. My last pick before we take a break. What fits with my theme of ballpark defense?
Ballpark defense. Kansas City.
No, I'm going to go ahead and take the San Francisco Giants.
Wow. Okay, this is a very interesting pick. The Giants are really in their own spot on my board because well, go ahead. Make the case. This is interesting. This is a very interesting pick.
Getting Harrison Bader to play center field every day, I think is a massive deal. I know that sounds silly, but I think it's really important. It pushes Jung-Hoo Lee to a corner. He was terrible in center. There's so much outfield room. I think the defense does get better. Look, am I worried about Luis Arraez at second base? Yeah. Do I think that Bryce Eldridge is definitely making this team? No. I think we could see a lot of Luis Arraez at first, Devers DHing. I don't think Luis Arraez is going to start 120 games at second base, I guess is what I'm saying. And then the defense is really good with Adames and Chapman. Look, the pitching staff is underwhelming, but it was underwhelming last year, and they still finished in the top half, right? Like, it wasn't exciting in 2025, and it's really not any more exciting in 2026 with Adrian Hauser getting blasted against Team USA today. But I don't know. I got a decent feeling about the Giants.
That's fine.
You were really
I
surprised.
thought I was maybe going to be able to sneak them in at some point here in the next 5 to 10 picks. But the good news for you is that Adrian Hauser will not be facing Team USA anymore this year. Sometimes he'll have to face some of those hitters. But if that was the case, together. Presumably you would not be taking them with the 14th overall selection. All right, we're going to take a break. When we return, there are some good pitching staff still on the board.
Yep.
We will see where we go next. We'll be right back at Baseball Barbacast.
And welcome back to Baseball Barbacast. Jordan floored that I took the Giants. I'm going to pretend to be surprised at whoever it is he takes next here on our pitcher draft.
I kind of spoiled it. Do I want to take the Royals? No, I don't. I'm not going to take the Royals. Not yet. Not yet, anyway. I'm going to take... Oh, God, I can't do that yet. All right, I will take the Royals. I will take the Royals. Yes, those fences are coming in a little bit. It's true. They also have at least, the best left side of the infield in the sport. They still have a terrific center fielder in Kyle Isbell. And I still think it's going to be a pitcher's park mostly. So, and also they have good pitchers. Cole Reagans is awesome. I'm in on Noah Cameron. I think Seth Lugo will be better. I think that Michael Wacha is fine. And we will see what this bullpen looks like. Bullpen, we'll see. But they're generally a pretty good defensive team. And Bubic. If Bubic is healthy, Bubic is awesome. So I'm in on him too. So it's not, again, there's a clump of teams here. It's probably a bit of a reach. I'll take Kansas City.
You can talk yourself in or out of any of the teams in this tier. You go either way. I'm going to take the Tampa Bay Rays now. Two main reasons. One, the floor is so high. I think this Rays team is going to be pretty bad for a Rays team, and I still expect them to win 75 games. It's so hard for this operation to suck. The second reason is they're moving back to the Trop instead of playing in a launching pad. And I think that will certainly help them keep runs off the board half the time. I'm going to add a bonus reason. This 5-man rotation is actually pretty good. None of these guys stink. Drew Rasmussen, maybe the most underrated player in baseball or pitcher in baseball. Ryan Pepiot, solid. Shane McClanahan coming off so many injuries. He pitched today, looked okay. Even if he's just average, that's good. And then Nick Martinez and Steven Matz. You could see a world where Rasmussen is a 120 ERA plus, and then these other 4 guys are all at 100. Just right at 100. And guess what? That would be really good. Being a league average starting pitcher is so hard. It is so hard to have that. And I think there's a chance the Rays have 5 of those guys.
And that sentence right there, it is hard to be a league average starting pitcher, has scared me out of my next pick. Which you could probably guess.
Would have been the San Diego Padres.
Oh, and we'll see if they're still on the board with my next pick, but I will take Cleveland. I'll take the Guardians. The Guardians,
I would have taken them next.
Were just unbelievable run prevention team. They were slightly better offensively in September. They were more closer to league average, but it was really the pitching. The starting pitching that they were getting in that 3 or 4 week stretch was just unbelievable. And Clase and Ortiz are gone, and it didn't really matter that much. Cade Smith is terrific. They have all kinds of other awesome relievers. I think they have more depth that can come up and help them. And even though Kai Correa is not there anymore telling them where to stand, I still think this is an organization that knows how to get outs and how to keep runs off the board. So I will have the Guardians here, and we will see if the San Diego Padres will still be on the board.
Don't worry.
When it comes back
they
to me.
are a
No, you're
no
not taking them.
draft for me. They are a no
Okay.
draft because
All right.
as incredible as the Padres bullpen is, they are pitching, although their bullpen will probably pitch half the time because their rotation is so bad. That's the point I'm making. It's the Padres rotation, like the back half of that rotation. I'm just not touching that. So I will take the Reds. I will take the Cincinnati Reds.
Wow,
Who
this is wow.
don't
Man,
fit in with my
you
theme.
had the Reds in
I
both
admit.
in both drafts. Oh,
I love the Reds, dude. That's why I'm wearing.
no.
Jordan's
Dude,
always
I
like,
mean, listen.
I'm talking
Their
about this team
their
today. I'm
staff
wearing this
is-
hat. Look, I'm wearing this red shirt just for
Nice.
the Reds. Yeah, their staff
Great.
is freaking
They have some
money,
good
man.
pitchers. They have
Really
some
good
really
pitchers.
good pitchers.
If the Reds played in T-Mobile Park, okay, everything else about the team was the same. If they played in Seattle, where would you have them on your board?
I don't
And
know.
not-
Top 5.
One of the top 5, right? Like this is,
Yeah.
In a way, they're undervalued, I think, because the ballpark is so nut.
I agree. And they were, I believe, 11th in runs allowed per game last year, even in that ridiculous ballpark. So, no, this is a good pick. This is a good pick. I kind of regret that I even left them on there that long. So, shame on me.
You know I love the Reds, man.
But we push forward. All right, now it's getting interesting.
Serious
Now,
serious note, quickly. My frustration, very public frustration with the 2025 Reds is something I've left in 2025. Okay.
Love that.
I am willing to wipe that slate clean. What the Reds were does not necessarily make what they will be. And I'm willing to approach that team with a clean slate. So, to Reds Nation, please be better. Not the fan base, the team. You
No,
get it.
Fans are great. I'm going to take the Padres. And here's the thing. Randy Vasquez, let's go. Let's do it. Talk about spring training outings. He will continue to defy all logic to keep runs off the board, no matter how horrific his peripherals are. Again, I've said it. I think German Marquez can be just fine. And I think Nick Pivetta is good. Joe Musgrove, I have no clue. He's someone that I just have absolutely zero idea what to expect from. Michael King is sketchy from a durability standpoint. But this bullpen is that good. It is that good. And I just wrote today about like their 5th best reliever, David Morgan, who had like a 2 ERA as a rookie in 50 innings. And they just got so many guys back there. So it's going to be tough for Craig Stammen to shorten every game like that. Like, is that really sustainable? I don't know. But still a great pitcher's ballpark. And I do think that it will mostly even out to a top half run prevention unit. I will take the Padres.
This is where we have a drop off, I think. I think there are no great picks left. And I'm going to make the best bad pick and take the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
Is that an endorsement
correct selection
of Spencer Strider's health or Spencer Schwellenbach's health or, Spencer Sales' health? No. However, when you get into the later rounds, you're doing the best you can. And I think the Braves being healthy enough to get outs is a better bet than anything left. Maybe that's insulting to say the Cardinals or the Diamondbacks or the Marlins, but that's where I'm at.
I would have taken them next as well. I think that they also added Robert Suarez and brought back Iglesias, and Tyler Kinley's pretty good. The talent here is still really good. I just can't really trust any of it. So I will also say that, and just how fast they've already all started to get injured does not make me feel very good. I will say that unlike on offense, where they have just absolutely nothing when it comes to position player depth, more on that later. Jurickson Profar, what are you doing? this team generally can kind of conjure up some arms. They do have some interesting pitchers in the upper minors. Some of them are prospects, some of them are a little bit older, that I think can help this team, whether that is a Didier Fuentes, whether we see J.R. Ritchie this year. Like, I would have taken them next, and I almost took them over the Padres. So I think this is a great pick. All right. 20 teams down, 10 to go. And this is an appropriate place to kind of pause, because all the picks from here on out, you're kind of going to be holding your breath. But Jake rounds out his top 10 picks with the Rangers. I round out my top 10 picks with the Rangers, Astros, Royals, Guardians, Padres. Jake taking the Cubs, Giants, Rays, Reds, and Braves. All right, here we go. Let's just get this over with. Oh my goodness, this is not pleasant. So this is an interesting combination of teams that, you know what? I'm just going to take the Orioles. There's a lot of doubt about how little they did, particularly in the bullpen. But hey, we got Ryan Helsley. That's cool. I think Ryan Helsley is going to be better this season. I think Chris Bassett is a stabilizing force, if not an upside play. But Shane Baz is an upside play. Is Trevor Rogers going to be this good? Probably not. Eflin, But I don't know. With guys like Baz and Helsley, like, that's enough that I'm kind of excited and projecting forward. And this is also a team with some really interesting upper level pitching depth that is obviously unproven, but talent wise, there are some guys that I could imagine surfacing and being interesting, whether that's a Trey Gibson, whether that's a Levi Wells in the bullpen, maybe Luis De Leon later in the season. So again, I understand why the Orioles get clowned for their pitching strategy, but they did just enough here for me to actually feel kind of good about getting them at the top of this group.
Oh. Okay, I will take the Marlins here.
Oh, damn. Really, really wanted them next. Okay, good job. Good pick.
I'll take the Fish. I will take the Fish. All right. Is Sandy Alcantara going to be that bad again? Gee, I hope not. Yuri Perez we're super high on. Max Meyer, clean bill of health. I have no thoughts on Chris Paddock. Braxton Garrett is very underrated. And then you have kind of this next wave coming up from the minors with Thomas White kind of leading that group. Bullpen is anonymous but interesting. And I think that this team does know. I think they kind of know how to get outs, or like they're getting closer to that. My one concern here is that they were way worse at runs off the board last year than I thought or remembered. And so they do need to get better to be worth this pick.
Yeah. Okay. Now we are officially in not fun territory. This is where I'm not going to feel good about really any of these picks, which is why I think that's a totally nuts decision if I do that. You know what? I think I'll take the White Sox here, which I can't believe I feel any amount of good about that, but they did add pitchers. I'm excited to see Anthony Kay back in the States. I think Sir Anthony Dominguez does make their bullpen better. I think that Grant Taylor can be very good. I don't love that they took multiple Rule 5 picks for their pitching staff. I think that kind of speaks to where they were at. Sean Newcomb I liked as a nice signing. Again, I really don't like anyone else that's on the board. So I'm kind of going to have to talk my way into all of these picks. And I'm just going to lean on the new additions, because in terms of the homegrown guys, other than Shane Smith, a lot of the other guys kind of took a step back. And that part doesn't make me feel awesome. So not feeling awesome. Not going to feel awesome about any of these picks. White Sox, welcome to the team. Who you got?
I'm going to take the Arizona Diamondbacks now.
Okay.
Of the teams remaining, the Diamondbacks, I think, are far and away like the best team. If you include offense and like if we're talking about playoff odds, right? Diamondbacks, Cardinals, Twins, A's, Angels, Nats, Rockies, like I think they're kind of in their own tier there. And so the team that they end the season with might not be the team they start the season with, right? If they're in the mix, you could see them adding an arm. Or you could see them arguing that Corbin Burns coming back is the same as trading for someone, which it's obviously not, but it is relevant to my argument. They have some good defenders. They play in a ballpark that I don't want to think about. I don't particularly like their starting rotation. I think the bullpen will be a lot better. I'm kind of in on some of their hard throwing arms that are kind of coming up in the high minors. But I mean, what? It's the 25th pick, 24th. What do you want me to do?
It's fine. That's fine. That is fine. All right. Next up, I am going to take the. Oh gosh. Teams remaining, just for those curious. 6 teams left: Angels, A's, Cardinals, Twins, Nats, Rockies. So you can understand my discontent here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to throw Angels fans a bone. This is way earlier than I thought I was going to take them. But you know what? I actually think upside-wise, this is pretty clearly the pick. I just don't believe it's going to happen because it never happens for the Angels. But on pure talent, I actually don't think it's really close in terms of them compared to the other teams that we're picking between. Do you see where I'm kind of coming from with that?
I agree.
Again,
I agree.
The odds of that manifesting
saying,
are low. Yeah.
You're saying like Reed Detmers, finally. Grayson Rodriguez, buy low. Alek Manoah, bounce back. Sure.
Not even Manoah, but even like I love Soriano. Kikuchi's good. Like Robert Stevenson, remember him? He obviously hasn't been healthy forever. They signed a bunch of relievers. So again, I don't feel good about it, but I spent so much time crapping on the Angels on this podcast. So I'll go ahead and overdraft them here in this one, and maybe I'll regret it.
I'll take the Minnesota Twins.
Okay.
I would have felt better about this a month ago when Pablo Lopez was going to play and Joe Ryan wasn't pulling out of the WBC.
Yep.
I think they would have gone a lot higher. Joe Ryan, I still think is going to be a big part of this team this year. Again, of the teams on the board, I think they're the one that's trying the most to win. They didn't sell. They kept a lot of their pieces that they didn't necessarily need to. That's all I have to say about the Twins. It'll be Joe Ryan, Bailey Ober, Simeon Woods Richardson, and then like Taj Bradley and Zebby Matthews. You can squint and think well of that, you know.
I was between the Twins and the Angels for my last pick, but injuries not awesome. And if they just start trading guys, now we're just rolling out the St. Paul rotation, and that's not going to be particularly fun. I'm going to take the Nationals of Washington with my next pick. On pure pitching staff talent right now, this is maybe 30. It really might be 30, especially in the bullpen. But you mentioned the coaching staff overhaul. Trust in Simon Matthews. Trust in new ideas. Trust in just everything being different. And they probably do not deserve to go any higher than 28th or 29th, but I'll do it. I will do it. You got the Nationals in the lineup draft, so I'll take them on the mound, even though that could be a way worse selection.
I am not touching the A's or the Rockies unless they are given to me, and so I will take the Cardinals. The argument for the Cardinals is that they easily have the most favorable ballpark and best defense left. Mason Wynn and Victor Scott at short and center are both pretty close to elite, if not elite. Do I have positive feelings about the rotation comprised of Michael McGreevy, Andre Palante, Dustin May, Matthew Liberatore, and Kyle Leahy? Leahy? No.
Leahy.
No. How, like, there's some interesting arms in the system, you know, and their pitching director, Matt Pierpont, came over from Seattle a year ago, and he's good. He helped build the Mariners into what they became. But, like, yeah, no thanks on A's or Rockies. So, Cardinals.
I will take the A's. I'm hoping that some of those pitchers start to come up because they do have a really interesting group of pitching prospects. The ballpark is a killer in Sacramento, but I'm really interested in Luis Morales. I wrote about him again today, and they have some interesting relievers. So again, compared to Colorado, who we're hoping is going to be better because they'll stop throwing fastballs in Coors Field as often, at least. But I'll still take the A's here at 29. So congratulations, you will be saddled with another year of the Rockies, but probably can't be any worse. They were so bad.
If you wanted to like go runs per game improvement over last year,
that's true.
The Rockies are a legitimately decent pick.
Yeah, 100%. I did not like totally like when we talked about they ended up being one of the last picks in the lineup drafts, even with Coors Field, but they were literally the worst road offense like of all time last year. I don't think I like totally got that across. I referenced just the home road splits. Historically horrible on offense, but pitching wise, we will see. Maybe Chase Dolander can give you some quality outings. We will see. All right, here we go. The end of our draft. My final 5 picks: the Orioles, White Sox, Angels, Nats, and A's. Jake's final 5 picks: Marlins, D-backs, Twins, Cardinals, Rockies. We will add up all the runs allowed by our 15 teams at the end of the season, and one of us will look just a little bit smarter. We're going to take a break. When we return, Jurickson Profar, WYD. We'll be right back.
And welcome back to Baseball Barbacast. No more drafting. We still have something that we need to talk about, though. We fell in love with baseball at the same time, Jordan. In part because no one else in our friend group in high school cared about this the way that we cared about this. And one of our very first touch points, our shared nerdity, revolved around one Mr. Jurickson Profar, who at the time was the top prospect in the sport, a precocious phenom, the Texas Rangers. And in the time since, Profar has disappointed relative to those expectations. He did carve out a career for himself as a decent, corner outfield utility guy. He was a big leaguer. He was no bum, but maybe a bust. And that disappointment in what Jurickson Profar has become only multiplied today as the Atlanta Braves designated hitter/outfielder was handed yet another suspension for testing positive for performance-enhancing drugs. Profar had an 81-game suspension a year ago. Remember, he spent 2024 with the Padres, had a breakout offensive campaign, a campaign that was unbelievable. Turns out it was unbelievable. He tested positive in last spring training, served 81 games, came back, was really good for the Braves. And here we are all over again because it is his second suspension. He is out for all 162. I am bummed about this. This sucks. Like, what an idiot. What a dummy. What are we doing?
Yeah, and like, as far as guys testing positive, where it comes after, obviously suspensions have become more rare as testing has become more stringent, and we just haven't had as many PDs. This is just not part of our game as much. But even there have been a lot of situations where guys are testing positive and you're just like, what? We had the Max Kepler one, right? Everyone's laughing at him because he was bad. But the Profar one initially a year ago was like, man, that sucks because his season was truly incredible in a way that when you tried to analyze it, the only thing you could really look at would be like, well, everything is just better in ways that we've never seen before. Like, he did not change any sort of meaningful approach. His strength, his bat speed, all of the things you would associate with just like this shocking physical uptick in your age 31 season. It was the kind of season where you would like flippantly be like, oh man, you got to test this guy. And turns out he was indeed on something. But to make this mistake again is just, it's unconscionable. I mean, it's just like how the level of greed, of recklessness, of arrogance, it's just, I don't know, man. It's pretty shocking and really disappointing, and puts the Braves in a pretty brutal spot. Profar already had a bit of a strange place on this team. He returned from his suspension last year and was pretty good when he came back. Not quite as good as he was the year before, but was still a well above average hitter. But by the time he got back, the Braves season was pretty much already cooked. Going into this year, it was like, okay, well, Profar's good. Like, yeah, he cheated, but now he's back, and we're not thinking he's going to get suspended again. So now he joins an outfield with Michael Harris and Acuna, and they bring in Mike Yastrzemski. And we talked about, remember, Profar was like, I'm not really interested in DHing. Like, I'm going to be in the outfield. And it's like, well, guess what, dude? You're not going to be doing anything.
You're going to be on the couch.
You're out for the whole year. And I guess he's going to be owed. He's, still under contract for 2 more seasons. I don't know how in the world the Braves are going to welcome him back in 2027, whenever our season begins, right? But it's just a disaster, and so disappointing for someone that, as you mentioned, really kind of meant a lot to us earlier in our time following the sport. His homer in his first career at bat, definitely his first career game, September 2nd, 2012, as a 19-year-old. That is the start of our senior year of high school. So that is obviously why that resonates with us so deeply. As for the Braves, like I mentioned it earlier, like they got no depth, man. They have absolutely nothing in the minor leagues from an offensive standpoint. So I don't know what the plan is here. There's not a whole lot of free agents out there left, although Andrew McCutchen is a super interesting one. That is just 100% speculation. But if Kutch still wants to play and the Pirates don't want him, and you need kind of the DH type to fill in that is just like raise the floor at least, he's kind of a perfect fit. Obviously, Ozuna's gone, so that DH spot is going to be a little bit different. So I don't know. It just sucks. And this is not someone that is going to be taken very seriously in any capacity anytime soon.
I was talking to a scout today at a spring training game I was at, and like this news broke while we were chatting. And the guy just goes, tell you what, no one in our clubhouse is shedding a tear. I was like, that's probably true. This is not a guy who was particularly well liked around the league. And his reputation only went further down when he got popped the first time. And this is certainly not going to help. So he's going to be out for 162. It is very rare for someone to be suspended in 162. There've only been 5 other players to get that second suspension since they went to this current system in 2014. Now, Profar is appealing this. Appeals don't get overturned. This one almost certainly will not be either.
Yeah. Last thing on this, just because I don't know if you misspoke or thought, like, you said he was suspended for 81 games. It is weird that why is it an 80 games?
It's 80.
It's an 80 game suspension. It's an 80 game. So the first time you get popped now, you get 80 games, and then you get 162.
Because in my head,
why is that though? If it's
it should be 81, right?
It's right. Like, it's intended to be half the season. So was that some sort of like negotiated win by the PA that it would only be 80 instead of 81? Maybe. Like, it's just kind of strange. I'm kind of curious what that's about. But anyway, as you mentioned, this is not something we've seen happen very often. Henry Mejia, Marlon Byrd, Francis Marquez, Robinson Cano, by far the most notable one. And then JC Mejia. If you're wondering, this is relevant because A-Rod was suspended for 162 games, but that was under the previous policy. So that was a little bit of a different situation. But yeah, it's just, Profar seemed to endear himself in San Diego. That's certainly where he had the most success and where he seemed to be well liked enough. But now in Atlanta, it's the complete opposite situation. This dude showed up last year and was immediately out, and now you have this situation going into an extremely important season for them. So just a disaster. Speaking of, I'm going there tomorrow.
Sorry, I'm going there tomorrow. And like, everyone's gonna at spring training, like, he probably won't be there, and it sucks that Walt Weiss, the Braves manager, is gonna have to deal with this and whatever. What I would pay to know Chris Sale's actual thoughts on this,
I mean, he might just give it to you. I don't know, man. Like, I don't know, because this is, the first time, like a year ago, all the Braves were like, yeah, we're disappointed, we'll move forward, focus on what's again, like maybe they have to pretend like he's coming back next year, but in this case, they might be like, screw that.
It's only one more year. It's only one more year. It's
That's
not
what
two.
I'm saying.
You said two.
And
it's
who
only
knows?
One.
No, it's 2 more years, including this year, which he's already now forfeited.
Oh, sure.
That's what I'm saying.
Sure.
It's 2. So
sure.
I'm just saying that, like, they might think, like, we're never seeing this guy again. So I'll just let it rip and talk about how much this guy is a complete, dunce. So I don't know. I guess you'll find out. But that is not good for the Braves of Atlanta. Also not good for Team Netherlands, who was surely counting on Jurickson Profar to help them try and, pull the upset in Pool D. Also awkward because I believe his brother is still on the team. Jurickson Profar? Yikes. Anyway.
Test him.
Speaking of suspensions, we have another one. Johan Rojas. Uh-oh. Now, this one is more in the variety of, wow, what was that doing for you, Johan Rojas? You weren't exactly crushing the baseball. But this is just what happens. This one, at the time of this recording, has not been officially announced the way that Profar's has, but it has been reported. I saw John Heyman posting that Johan Rojas, who was also supposed to be on, taken off the WBC team. And I don't even really care to talk about Johan Rojas because it sounds like the Phillies didn't really have him in their plans anyway with how aggressively they are trying to give the center field job to Justin Crawford. So at best, Johan Rojas was just going to be the 4th, 5th outfielder on that team. But more relevantly, he is not on the Dominican team, which was already interesting that he was on that team to begin with, but you could understand as a defensive specialist, pinch runner, sure, late end of games, whatever. Instead, who gets to join the squad? None other than Junior freaking Lake. Oh,
this is
my
so
goodness.
Cool.
Is this an awesome freaking story? And again, Junior Lake was a prospect. I mean, is this before we were really like he's such a specific.
He debuted.
It was before. It was a little bit before when we're talking about.
Yeah,
but he debuted in
13. He debuted in 2013.
So yeah, it's the same. It's similar. But the peak of his prospectum, and like when you're a Cubs prospect, you also are just getting more hype. And his name's Junior Lake, and it's not a name you're used to seeing. And he definitely had kind of that cult following early in his Cubs career. But more notably, he is one of the most accomplished Dominican Winter League players of all time. He has played essentially every winter for his entire career. He's bounced around a couple different teams. He was on Estrellas for a very, very long time. More recently, he's been with Escogido. He's 35. He's about to turn 36 later this month.
He has not played affiliated baseball in the United States. Okay. The game, if he gets in a game in pool play in Miami, it'll be the first game. Maybe he had like a scrimmage here or there. First game he's appearing in the United States since 2017. He spent AAA, 2017 AAA with Pawtucket with the Red Sox. 2017, that is the last time he spent the summer playing baseball in America. Okay, he has been in the Mexican League ever since. And for him to have this opportunity to step in and get a role on this team is effectively like a career achievement award. Like, he's not playing in any significant spots, probably. And it probably has something to do with like it's difficult to pull someone in this late to join
from a real MLB team. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yep.
However, like for Junior Lake, this is so freaking cool. Like he's a very nice dude. I'm very happy for him.
Yeah. Oh, everybody loves Junior. He is anyone that's just been around that league and but wow, what a guy. 703 major league plate appearances. Last appeared in the big leagues 2016. 3,325 career plate appearances in the Dominican Winter League, which again, when you consider the compressed season, is just a staggering amount of playing time in a winter baseball league. He is incredible, and who knows if he'll have any sort of moment in the WBC. But I'm so glad that he gets to be around because I promise you, all those guys know Junior Lake, and so like, oh hell yeah, Junior Lake's going to be around. I assume he is immediately the oldest player on the team. Yeah, I feel pretty confident saying that. Which is great. Oh no, Carlos Santana. I take that back. Carl Santana, which is also this is wild, man. But yeah, think about all the life that Carl Santana has led since Junior Lake was last in the big leagues. But anyway, shouts out to him. Okay, couple more WBC things that we wanted to hit before we say goodbye. The first round of scrimmages between the international teams and the MLB teams were going on. We had the Dominican team play the Tigers in Santo Domingo, which is incredible. Team USA played against the Giants and put up a bunch of runs. We had some of the international teams win some of these games, whatever. But the main news coming out of the opening of USA training camp is really the actual starting pitching schedule, and we wanted to make sure we hit on that and a couple other things before we say goodbye. So it does seem that we know now that the pool play starting pitching schedule is going to be Logan Webb against Brazil, Tarik Skubal against Great Britain, Paul Skenes against Mexico. Skenes threw today on Tuesday and allowed like a leadoff double to Willy Adames and then just absolutely carved through everybody else that he saw for the rest of the outing. And then Nolan McLean, who has yet to report to Team USA camp because he's been dealing with some sort of sickness of vertigo-related symptoms. That's a little bit concerning. But assuming he's all good, it will be Nolan McLean against Italy. And according to reporting from Joel Sherman, it sounds like Nolan McLean is going to be the guy lined up to start the final on the 17th, which is compelling because there are other starters on this roster, even after Joe Ryan pulled out due to injury. That essentially means that McLean's getting the nod over a Waka, over a Matthew Boyd. Boyd looked awesome today, by the way, over a Clay Holmes, which in some respects is not that surprising. But again, you're talking about a guy with 8 career starts, and I think speaks to kind of just where Nolan McLean is kind of viewed. Now, they have to get there, and there's a long way to go before then. But, I mean, the McLean part of this is certainly the most compelling for me here.
Yeah, I mean, it just that the Mets were so comfortable letting him play that Team USA was so interested in getting him here that he's going to get this start probably, and no one will bat an eye on the team. Just shows how advanced of a talent Nolan McLean is. Again, we're in, we've been in. Like, this is not particularly surprising.
I will say, though, there are a couple of the things that I think we need to acknowledge when we project the pitching moving forward. First of all, if Boyd is going to be the piggyback off of Skenes, that is like such a no-brainer, considering how different of a pitcher that those guys are from just a stuff and attack kind of perspective. Although Boyd was like pumping 96 today, so but he's no Paul Skenes, so that could be a nice balance. As for who you would pair with the McLean, who knows? Do you pair a Ryan Yarbrough with him now that he's in for Joe Ryan? Who knows? But the one thing that we did not mention at all in any of our WBC previews that I think is really important to understand is that in addition to the restrictions that MLB teams are putting on their pitchers that we don't know really what they are exactly because they don't really have any incentive to reveal those exactly what they are. But that is the thing. They are all on some kind of schedule and understanding that this is how many this guy is expected to throw in this outing so that he can build up, before the season. There are also actual rules involving how many pitches you can throw and the amount of days of rest you need if you throw a certain number of pitches. That is most relevant in pool play when you can only throw 65 pitches in pool play. So when we get the report that Tarik Skubal is only pitching against Great Britain and he's only going to go, Bob Nightingale saying he's only going to go 55 pitches, nobody's going to be going out there and giving you 6 innings in pool play no matter what. I mean, unless you're really, really, really efficient. And so I'm really interested in where this Skubal discourse is at right now, because I know a lot of people, we talked about it briefly, are like really disappointed and saying, what's the point? Why are you even going to go if you're just going to go pitch against Great Britain? This is such a joke. And I get it, but I'm also a little bit kind of confused. Like, are we feeling this way about Garrett Crochet right now? Are we feeling this way about I don't know. Do you kind of see where I'm at? Like, it's weird that he's now getting this blowback after opting in, even if in a limited capacity. How have you kind of taken what? Because I know you said you were disappointed in it, and I get it, but I'm also kind of not really that worked up about it. And like Skubal not pitching in the semis, or I guess the final, like if that's why they don't win, is everyone going to hate Tarik Skubal? Like, I don't know. It just feels a little extreme.
I mean, it's better than him not doing it at all, Like that.
Right, but some people are acting like they're saying, what's the point?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather watch him do it. Cool. Like It is a little silly. I do think it's a little silly that he's just going to go fly to Houston, throw 55 pitches, and then fly back to Arizona. Or excuse me, fly back to Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is he going from Florida to Arizona to Houston to Florida and then fly to go down to Miami for the final?
Yeah,
it is odd.
I don't know. I didn't
Whatever.
see.
But
I didn't
get it.
see him.
There
on
are worse
the,
things.
Yeah.
There are worse things to complain about.
Yes. 80 pitches is the limit in the quarterfinals, 95 in the semis and the championship. Are we going to see anyone throw that many pitches? Probably not. But in pool play, it is relevant because if you do have long innings, that is where you are going to end up having to cover more than you expected. And so that's where, even if you do end up winning the game, that's where your stuff can kind of get out of whack. And that is what happened to Team USA last time. And I think is what Mark DeRosa is hoping is not going to happen this time. So just wanted to make sure that was understood about some of those rules. Also, we're going to have a pitch clock, which we didn't have last time in the WBC, which is kind of weird to think about. It's I barely even remember what life was like. That was the last baseball we had in the no pitch clock era was the WBC, which is kind of funny to think about. And then there are also mercy rules. So if you don't want to have to cover 9 innings, well, then if you're up by 10 after 7, then you don't have to play the rest of the game. That did happen 5 times in 2023. 15 after 5 is also the other mercy rule, which only happened once in 2023. So those are just some other important things to say, and that's a good place to end it because Jake Mintz, we're getting rolling here. You're listening to this on Wednesday. This WBC is starting Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern is the first official game of pool play. That is Australia against Taiwan, I believe. And then we're off. This weekend, it is going to be just an absolute, almost overwhelming amount.
I'm already tired.
Of WBC action. I'm so excited, and I am also wary about trying to. It's almost like 24 hours. It's like the whole day because you have these games in Asia going on that are starting at 5 a.m. and then they're going all the way until late into the night. It's just baseball all day long. So this is going to be a really special weekend, and we are very, very, very excited. But that's it. We've done enough yapping. Thank you to Andrew Hartz and Ingrid Rosas for producing as always. We will be back on Friday with another episode. But until then, enjoy the start of the WBC, and we will talk to you all very, very soon. Adios.